And welcome back for another short video. My name is Rick, and welcome to Poppy's Workshop. Uh, I already did a short video on how I tension the blade and how I sand the top and bottom and round it off. So if you haven't seen that video, um, just go check the short videos that I have, and that would be preparing the blade for cutting. Well, anyway, I'm going to start out with this particular piece, and usually I do start with the inside pierce cuttings, mainly because I want as much support on the. Let me get this out of the way here. I want to have as much support as possible when I'm cutting. That's really super important, especially when you're doing thinner and more fragile pieces like this Lady Liberty. In this case, I had to be real careful not to break things, so I'm doing super careful. The outside cut was the last thing that I did. So with this, I was originally thinking of cutting the outside first because this is red oak. It's a 1/2 inch, very, very uh, strong, so I shouldn't have any issues. But I do want to show you some of the ways that I do my pierce cutting. So this particular um, exercise will be pierce cutting. Now, I do have a top vac here. In order for you to hear me, I am not going to turn on my vacuum, so the top will get a little bit more messy than I really like. So, que sera, sera. So let me untension and lift up here. I prefer to go from the bottom of my piece of wood in order to do my cuts. So this is going to be a little bit trickier because it is such a big piece, and that's the other reason. Wait a sec. I can't see. This is the other reason why I wanted to, oh boy, I can't see. Why I wanted to do the outside cut first. There we go. Old man hands, old man eyes. There we go. So, so what I'm going to do is I'm pulling up a little bit on my blade to pre-tension it and then bring that back. All right, now when I cut, I prefer to keep the waste wood to the right of the blade. The reason for that is I find with the Flying Dutchman, when it drifts to the right. So in this case, when I cut, it will cut, it would drift into the waste wood. So that's the main reason. Now, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see my cut. So let me move this. Now, this is not the traditional puffer for an Excalibur. I actually ordered it because mine broke. I ordered this off of Amazon. I think it actually goes to a DeWalt. So it's a little bit longer. I had to do a little jury rigging and gluing here to get it to fit. So I'm trying to see how I can position this so that you can still see what I'm cutting. This should work. I'm going to peek and go from there. So I'm going to keep the vacuum off for a bit, and I'll give you an example in a second. So I'm going to start my first cut, and there's a lot of different ways to cut, especially when you get to your corners, your turns, and things like that. Like this is pretty tricky. So what I'm probably going to do in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm going to cut here. I'm going to do a nibble, come back, nibble a little bit more, maybe come down this way, even though the waste wood will be to the left, and that'll give me more room to work. A lot of different ways. So as different videos progress, I'll show you some of the different techniques that I use. There's no one right way. There's no one best way. There's your way that works for you. That's like what using blades. I've tried using Pegas. They're wonderful blades. I just prefer the Flying Dutchman. Neequa is the same as this, so I have a sample pack of that. But let's start and go from there. Oh, actually, what I forgot to do is you'll see it get a little bit brighter, and you'll see the edge of my magnifying glass. I have old man eyes, so I'm going to bring that down, come in. Oh, I'm a little bit slow. And let's start. So my goal is to split the line right down the middle. And you'll see I'm actually a little bit slow. I'm a slow cutter, but I'm a very accurate cutter. So what I'm doing, this is one of the techniques that I use. I call it the nibble. So I'm just nibbling off to the right of the blade, up to the line. And what this is going to do is this gives me room to turn. So I can maintain sharp corners. So this is one way that I do 90s, for example. And actually, I could have nibbled that whole thing out if I wanted to. Maybe that's what I'll do. Let me nibble that whole thing out. And this will give you your really sharp corners. Now, I went a little bit too far, so what I'm doing is kind of like a file, is I'm going to get things to match up a little bit. Yeah, that's not too bad. I think you can see that. All right. So one of the other things I can do is, now that I'm here, is even though it's going to be to the left side, I'm going to do a cut so I can have a smooth transition here from where I first came into the line. Oh, I got to put my puffer back. There we go. Ah, now it's a clean line. Yeah, that puffer is very important. So as you can see, I'm drifting to the right. So this is the main reason why I don't cut this way that often. So I'm going to do this on the turn. A little bit faster to get a sharper turn. So now I have a choice to make. I come to the bottom here. Do I do a full turn, which I can do? I'll stop here. Do I just do a full turn spin? Or another thing, if you're uncomfortable doing it, so you can see how I can back out fairly easy, is I'll do this, is I'll come this way, start here, and what I'm doing is I'm seeing how the blade tracks. Yeah, see it, how it drifts to the right? So I could have made the turn, but you know, I think I'm going to nibble this. What's nice about this particular piece here, unlike Intarsia, where your cuts have to be super accurate, we have a little bit more flexibility to do this here. So I can decide, let me do this. If we go back to Lady Liberty, actually, Lady Liberty, let me bring her back. I had to make some design decisions with Lady Liberty. Let's see, can I see her? Yeah. So with Lady Liberty, because some of these were so thin, I elected to stop or not make turns. You know, like this here, there's actually supposed to be a 90-degree cut here. Let's see, can you see that? Yeah, there's supposed to be a 90-degree cut right here. And I elected not to do that. Some of these lines were supposed to go a little bit longer, but I'm like, nah, it gets awfully close to this. So being that I'm not fitting parts together, I do have some design flexibility. And also flexibility when I screw up. So that's always a thing to consider. So here I'm going to just go backwards, and I'm going to go back to what I'm comfortable with, is scrap wood to the right. And sometimes I'll stop just to see how the blade is tracking. And I do have to micro adjust. There we go. And let's get that scrap wood out of there. So I'm going to smooth this out just a little bit if I can. We can always go back with some sandpaper if need be, but I'm just making the decision not to do that. All right, so let's turn this around. Yeah, that's not too bad. All right, we're going to have to do it to the left. And again, I'm watching what the blade is doing, so I just take a moment to stop. And then I go. So I see it drifting to the right, so you'll see that I'm micro adjusting as I move. And if I can stay within half a point, when you look at this entire piece when it's done, you will never be able to see the errors. Yeah, I am drifting to the right. But again, with this design, it doesn't matter, thankfully. So let me give some more working room. Yeah, this is where you got to be careful. Again, with old man hands, I'm pushing and I'll slide, and I wound up nicking just a little bit there. That's an area that I'll go revisit to smooth out. Here we go. All right. I got scrap wood in there. Let's get that out. Let's see if we can get this piece of scrap wood out. I can't find my little pick. I usually keep it underneath the, I have a box underneath there. What's really nice is I've got my, I don't, ouch, hit my elbow. Can't see it here. But I've got my canvas apron, and there's a wooden box, a cardboard box underneath me. So any scrap that comes off this way or I grab, I just drop, and my canvas just puts it right in the box. Kind of nice here. So there you go. I think that's a pretty good looking cut. Again, it's off a little bit there. No big deal. This may need to be cleaned up a little bit. Let's take a look. Nope. I think I'm going to leave it just like that. You're going to hear me repeat this little saying is perfect is the enemy of good enough. And that's something that we have to consider when we're doing this, doing our woodworking, is you can try and be so perfect that you wind up messing up, or it takes so long, or you get really, really frustrated, and you don't want to do that. So with that, I'm going to get ready to go to the next hole and try and thread it through. Again, I think what I'm going to do is go back to my original plan. That's why I'm using a number 7. Is that I was originally going to cut this out first with the number 7, then switch to a number 5 for most of the inside cuts, maybe a number 3. I'm not quite sure just this yet if I'm going to go that. Oh, I just hit that. I'm not sure if I'm going to go that small just this yet, but I'm going to just go do the outside now. But there you go. That's doing an inside cut, and your comments are appreciated. And I will see you in the next video. Good day.